Think for a minute about the sweetest text you've ever received. Maybe it was from a crush or a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or even your mom. Chances are it has stuck with you because it made you feel good. That's exactly what the Supernova text is all about. Of course, these messages can be tough to craft because on one hand, you're trying to evoke emotions into words. On the other, you need to be vulnerable while also sounding confident. When working with women, I always encourage them to start by making a list of their most recent memories they have with the guy they're planning to text. From there, it's a matter of choosing a moving moment they know their guy will appreciate remembering. To give you a better idea, let's talk about a current client of mine, Alex. I've asked her if I can share her story with you, and she's happy to help set an example. So, Alex met Jake through a mutual friend. The two of them instantly hit it off and have recently decided to be exclusive. Things between them are going great, but a big fear of hers is that, like past relationships, the spark they share right now is going to fade just as quickly as it ignited. She's not alone in feeling this way either. In fact, many of my clients face this same fear, and you may even be able to relate to it as well. The trick is to not let worrying ruin an otherwise awesome relationship, because once you feed fire to those negative thoughts and doubts, or make it known that you're concerned about things changing, you take away from living in the moment and being happy. Don't do that. Anyways, this is why Supernova texts are so great, because rather than worrying about what could happen, it lets you and your guy relive a moving moment that did happen. Better yet, it also lets your guy know that you're thinking about him in a non-clingy way. Unsure of where to start? I told Alex to recall the most recent time her and Jake laughed together. In this case, it was earlier that morning. Jake had spent the night at her place and unfortunately slept through his alarm. Panicked that he'd be late biking to work, she offered to give him a ride. Jumping in her car, she could tell his nerves were in knots. He couldn't risk being late again and was worried about what his boss would say. Picking up on this, she wasted no time getting him there. In the meantime, though, to lighten the mood, she hit play on her favorite 90s CD and began singing at the top of her lungs. Loving her playfulness, it wasn't long before he joined in, and suddenly the two of them were having a full-on car concert together. As he jumped out of her car, Jake was beaming, and the entire drive home, Alex thought about how great she felt being able to help him out. So, playing off this memory, Alex came up with a Supernova text. It read, "I know this morning didn't start out ideal, but I'm glad we got to have our own karaoke session together. Round 2 later tonight?" His response, "You bet. Thanks again for saving the day." This message was ideal because it was playful, reminded him of how much fun they had together, gave him something to look forward to later, and let him know that even though he was out of sight, Alex was still thinking about him. It's these kind of messages that'll keep the spark alive in your relationship. Another client of mine, Maria, also used this kind of message to let her man know she was thinking of him. In this case, Joe, her boyfriend, was out of town at a work conference. The night before he left, the two of them were out for dinner and wine. Strolling home hand in hand, they admired the moon. For such a simple scenario, something about that walk home together made her feel closer to him than ever before. Using this memory, she texted him, "I'm looking at the moon and thinking how amazing it is to have you in my life." Joe didn't answer right away, and Maria contacted me, worried that she had come on too strongly. I told her to give him some time. I mean, after all, he was at a work conference, so the chances of him being able to whip out his phone and text her back weren't all that likely. Still, she was stressing, but agreed to leave it be. Later that night, Joe called her and told her that her message made his day. It turns out that the conference hadn't been going all that great, so when he finally had the chance to check his texts, hers made him feel like he was on cloud 9. Alex's and Maria's cases are just two of many scenarios where women I work with have used the Supernova text to make their man feel like $1,000,000. So if you want to let your man know that you're thinking about him, then try out one of these messages. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. Now keep reading on and we'll chat again soon.